I do not know the man. 3 times in the Gospel of Luke, there by a fire in the courtyard, Peter is recognized in that low fire, first by a woman saying, "You know the man, you're with the man." And Peter says, "Woman, I do not know the man." "Oh, surely you belong to them. You're a Galilean, I'm sure of it, that you are with them." And he says, "I do not know what you speak of. I don't know what you're talking about. I do not know the man." And then in that darkness, in that fire, the cock crows, the rooster bellers, and in the Gospel of Luke, Peter hears the rooster and remembers what Jesus has said, and Peter goes and he weeps bitterly. Have you ever wondered what Mary taught Jesus? One commentator with a bit of holy imagination in thinking about in the Advent season in the Magnificat, so think Luke chapter 1, Mary comes to Elizabeth and sings this beautiful song that reminds us of Hannah's song. That as she nurses the baby Jesus, she sings that to him. As she cuddles him and nurses the baby Jesus, she sings like that same song that she sang to Elizabeth, so that when you get to Luke chapter 4 and Jesus is in his home synagogue and he takes the scroll from the prophet Isaiah and then sits down and says, "This day this has come true." And he basically repeats the song that Mary sang to him. "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to preach and bring good news to the poor, sight to the blind, freedom to the captive, good news to the poor." What else would have Mary taught Jesus? By a bit of coincidence, my mother is here. When I wrote this, I didn't know she was coming. She's sitting right over here. Mom, go ahead and raise your hand.
Thank you.
She loves when I do things like this. My mother taught me many things. I think it was my father who taught me, though, as a boy, that if you're going to urinate at the park, you don't drop your pants to your feet. It's much less conspicuous if you keep your pants up around your hips. My mother taught me that we do not get the bounce on the couch. You do not get the bounce on the bed. So, being a 4-year-old, I thought, the top of my father's car looked like a good place to bounce. Exactly. Not a good place to bounce. 4 years old, because we left that house when I was almost 5. 4 years old, my brother and I, 6 years old, we went down 2 blocks over, up a half a block, to a man's house that we did not know because he left his basement window unlocked. We would crawl into his basement and bounce on his couch. This is what my mother taught me. We would bounce on the couch until we could see his feet begin to come down the steps, and literally we would run across his basement, bounce on his couch, and bounce out the basement window. Until somebody got caught. What did Mary teach Jesus? Did she teach him to run, to play, and to sing, and to dance? This sermon begins with a poem by a man, written by a man, W.H. Auden, in the last century. And I apologize, I don't read poetry out loud very well. This is a Christmas poem called The Manger. "Oh, shut your bright eyes," this is Mary speaking to Jesus. "Oh, shut your bright eyes, that mine must endanger with their watchfulness. Protected by its shade, escape from my care. What can you discover from my tender look, but how to be afraid? Love can but confirm the more it would deny. Close your bright eyes. Sleep. What have you learned from the womb that bore you, but an anxiety that your father cannot feel? Sleep. What will the flesh that I gave do for you, or my mother's love, but tempt you from his will? Why was I chosen to teach God's Son to lead?" the little one asleep. That Mary teaches Jesus to weep. What is this day? What is this day? What is this day other than for all the world that seems and feels as is a weeping? Jesus stands outside the tomb of his friend Lazarus, and Jesus weeps. And Jesus weeps over Jerusalem. What is this day except a weeping? What is this day? That Jesus in John on the cross sees his mother and Mary and John and says, "Mother, behold your son." What is this day except that it feels all the world as a weeping? What is this day? That Mary, as she nurses her baby, teaches the Son of Man to weep, to bear up a cross. What is this day? That, my God, why are you far? Why have you gone far away? What is it other than this day seems to be a weeping? Jesus in the Gospel of Luke breathes his last. From noon until 3 there is darkness. It seems all the world to be a weeping. Peter, I do not know the man, us. With all our sadnesses, with all our joys, with all our fears, with all our faiths, with all our doubts, it seems all the world to be a kiss. It seems all the world